Hey there, Evan Nathaniel Grimm. Today I'm going to be discussing the Capricorn New Moon happening December 23rd at 2:16 a.m. Pacific Time. Now, as I'm going through today, you want to look at where 1 degree of Capricorn falls in your chart. What house is Capricorn in? That will mark what domain of your life you're initiating something in, kickstarting a new beginning, charting a new course, and setting your intentions. Before I go through all of the forecasts though, if you want a reading from me, the link is down below. Also, I'm hosting an astrology retreat in Croatia next year, the first week in September. And there are limited spots available. So if you want to go sightseeing in Croatia with me, hiking, swimming, boating, all these things, I'm also going to be doing custom astrology workshops on the history of astrology and what it means for our future. I'm also going to be talking about how to holistically activate your birth chart, and everyone who goes to this retreat will get a mini birth chart reading from me. So I will dedicate time throughout the trip to you, but also to talk about your chart and your experiences. So don't miss that. The link for that is below. Again, limited spots, so you should definitely get your seat now. One more thing. The 2023 forecasts for each zodiac sign are also on my website. So if you want to look into 2023, I cover every new and full moon and the implications of those lunar cycles for each zodiac sign. So, what is Capricorn about with this new moon? I just want to explain Capricorn versus Cancer because we're dealing with the Capricorn-Cancer axis, which is innately highlighted anytime you have a Capricorn new moon or a full moon. We're discussing eventually this Capricorn new moon leading to a Cancer full moon. So Capricorn is about establishment. It's about establishing your career, your profession, and committing to that path. And it's also about accomplishing things and leaving behind a legacy. It's about institutional memory. And then Cancer is also about establishments, but more so the establishment of the home, the family, and how we nurture ourselves, and even insularity and how we protect ourselves and the people we care about and the things we care about. So Capricorn and Cancer, in my opinion, the sort of traditional signs of the zodiac, meaning it's really about how we appear sort of internally in our home and how we balance that with our work, our profession, our accomplishments. Now, the cardinal signs, which are noted here with Capricorn Cancer, cardinal signs are about executive action, initiation, and leadership. So cardinal signs are very foundational. You know, the cardinal signs are associated with the angular houses, the angles of a birth chart. So it's really Aries is the self, Libra is the other, Cancer is the home and the family, and Capricorn is really your vocation and your career. So in this new moon period, we're thinking about what do we want to commit to professionally, long term? How do we want to be seen by the public? Because Capricorn actually does have this self-consciousness about it. Because the ruler of this new moon, Saturn, does allow us to manifest things, but only because we feel this applied pressure. We feel like people are watching and expecting us to do something. So Saturn and Capricorn are about meeting expectations of whom? Meeting the expectations of authority figures, of parents, of society. So let's start to dig in though to what exactly is unique about this new moon. So we've been in a period of a lot of mutable energy over the past month between Sag, Gemini, and Pisces, and this combined with the Mars retrograde has led to resistance with initiating new projects. So it's actually been a time to better utilize our ability to make tweaks and adjustments. And people have been, in a lot of ways, recalibrating what they believe, their opinions. Their opinions have been very malleable with Mars retrograde in Gemini. And so we've all been hopefully course correcting based on feedback. So that Gemini full moon before this, hopefully you asked somebody for feedback on how can I make this better with a project I'm working on or with a direction I'm going in. How can I refine my arguments? However, this new moon in Capricorn, it infuses us with a ton of cardinal energy because there will be a concentration of Capricorn. We actually have Mercury, Venus, of course Pluto, the Sun and Moon all in Capricorn. So this is a stellium or a concentration of energy. Plus, we also have Jupiter shortly before this re-entering Aries, which is another cardinal sign, as I discussed. So the composite of all that, this new moon is the birth of a long-term project or profession that you had been reconsidering over the past month during this mutable time frame. And what does that start with? How do we start to do that? Because I'm sure you're watching this and asking, okay, well, what's the step-by-step there? It actually starts with the self-confidence of Jupiter in Aries. So Aries precedes Capricorn in the zodiac. So with Aries, it's the first sign in the zodiac, and Jupiter in Aries is really expanding our sense of self, our ability to take chances on things, to maybe be an entrepreneur, to maybe believe in ourselves, literally. That's what I think about with Jupiter in Aries. So with that belief in the self, with that additional courage, with that adventurousness and the ability to aim high, which is Jupiter ruling Sag, with that perspective, even with Jupiter, of seeing how like the larger, seeing the larger view and aperture of our lives, how does that suddenly open a pathway to go forward in a professional sort of sense? So the key questions you should ask yourself on this new moon: how can I consolidate the resources I need to manifest that career goal or that profession or even a business idea? So where I'm going with that is Capricorn being the last Earth sign, is really about figuring out how to delegate responsibilities. So this person's good at graphic design, this person's good at data science, this person's good at administrative work. How can we synthesize all this to create a business or a hierarchy or some type of institution? So right now, your self-confidence with Jupiter and Aries is going to be activating these types of questions. So how can I draw from different people's talents and skill sets to actually create something interesting? And in this analogy, or in this example, this is more of maybe an entrepreneur's thought process, but for whatever you're doing in your life, like this is about bringing our heads together, our skill sets together, but it starts with Jupiter and Aries giving you the confidence based on the fact that you can now see the wider picture of your life, the broader picture of all the possibilities that you could accomplish on your own, but also in concert with other people. So I like this new moon because it's kind of balanced. So it's like the Aries, because too much Aries would be too self-focused, too self-centered a little bit. But too much Capricorn would be too hesitant, because we have this dichotomy here of Capricorn being about these incremental things of what resources do I need to consolidate, versus Jupiter and Aries being I'm going to take a big chance on something. And so as a dovetail to that, where do I need to expand? Where specifically can I expand my self-confidence to materialize these ambitions? So to do that, you have to look at where Aries falls in your chart. So where is Jupiter returning to? So if you have Aries in the 10th house, if you're Cancer rising, then your confidence is actually going to be in your career. So that's really good. If it was in the first house as an Aries rising, then the confidence is just kind of emanating from yourself. And the other question here is, what perspectives do I still need? So Jupiter and Aries expanding that viewpoint or that vantage point of your life and of your possibilities. You have to think about where are my blind spots? Like, where am I not seeing the possibilities? Like, could I maybe pursue a book deal, or maybe could I host a retreat, like whatever it is you're trying to do, or maybe, could I expand my product? Should I go into this area and pursue a new product or whatever? So Aries is personal. Capricorn is, in some respects, collaborative in the sense that we're building a hierarchy. So this is about merging the self-focused needs with the needs of the organization or the profession. So the ruler of this new moon is Saturn. And Saturn is in the final decan of Aquarius. And it's not really in conflict with any of the planets at this time. Saturn is really just calling us, in my opinion, to wrap up something in the Aquarius part of our chart. So this is where we can muster the work ethic to push forward on these things. So now you also have to think about, where is Aquarius in my chart? So if it's in the 8th house, for example, Saturn transiting the 8th house, maybe you're solidifying a business, actually, a small business, you're starting the LLC, whatever. It's in your 10th house. Again, maybe you're actually materializing something in your career. So again, I really do like the fact that this new moon is synthesizing a very personal energy and a very, not necessarily collective in the sense of like Aquarius or Pisces, but, a very sort of, a more broad-minded energy that will allow you to actually commit to that path. And when I'm talking about all of this, I'm not saying that necessarily all of this will happen overnight. This is really the genesis of a new climb up a new hill, because Capricorn doesn't really work. It doesn't happen overnight with Capricorn. It happens day by day, step by step. But combined with the Aries Jupiter placement, it's almost like, again, I'm taking a chance to start rolling, get that ball rolling. So let's look into the other factors here. So Mercury is in this pre-shadow, so it will retrograde shortly thereafter, but I would not worry about this because in this case, I looked into the Mercury retrograde. It's not really going to be making any tough aspects. And all the planets right now on this new moon are, direct, apart from Mars and Uranus. So, because Mercury isn't actually retrograde on the new moon, I think it's fine. Just set intentions with this Mercury retrograde in mind that you may have to reconsider a couple things. But overall, the sort of deluge of cardinal energy speaks very positively to your ability to take action and initiate. But to speak to the fact that Mars and Uranus are the retrograde planets here, this means that theoretically we are less equipped to make radical changes in our lives, because Mars is kind of immediate action and Uranus is reinvention and radical change. So this doesn't necessarily undermine the new moon because, again, Capricorn is more about incremental gains. So it's more about having the confidence to embark on the long-term track and less about immediately getting what we want. However, Mars is the dispositor of this Jupiter in Aries, which could stifle somewhat our self-confidence or strength. But ultimately, to give you the perspective on when is this changing, we will be full speed ahead by mid to late January, because around January 12th or 13th, Mars stations direct, and then around January 23rd, 22nd, Uranus stations direct. So by late January, it's like full speed ahead, and at that point, we're in Aquarius territory. However, to me, this new moon is still vital. It's super important for you to kind of develop a steady course of action, knowing that eventually, again, even if it doesn't happen overnight, even if you're just starting the business, registering the LLC, or you're trying to sign, you're just signing the deal, so to speak. There's an agreement potentially here, right? Even though, we think about Libra as being somewhat tied to that, I do think that there is, with Capricorn, this meeting of not necessarily the minds, but of the resources. So again, like being aware of like who can do what are the competitive advantages of these people, and how can we build something out of it? Because Earth knows how to build and organize, and even manage. So overall, again, this new moon is about letting your self-confidence grow and having that self-confidence light the way forward in something long-term. So, I will be talking about the Cancer full moon after that, and also I will be giving you a January 2023 forecast. But again, if you want to spend a week with me in Croatia on an astrology retreat, this is going to be a good one. Check out the link down below. If you want to see what's coming for your sign in 2023 comprehensively, download my 2023 forecasts. And of course, if you want a reading from me, if you want me to talk about you for an hour, go click that link also down below. I have some spots open starting in, I think, mid to late February. So pretty booked out at the moment. But if you want to secure a spot for next year, definitely book now. So thank you so much, and take care.